In every ancient prophecy, there's a moment of reckoning, a final war between light and darkness. From the Book of Revelation to ancient Babylonian omens, myths around the world speak of a terrifying end-time battle where demonic legions rise and the heavens shake. But who are these demons said to command the apocalypse? What role do they play in humanity's final chapter? In this video, we'll uncover the hidden prophecies, the symbols, and the dark forces foretold to wage war at the end of days. Prepare yourself, the final battle is not just myth, it's a warning written in eternity. Islamic eschatology, the darkness before the end. Throughout human history, every civilization has looked to the end of the world with awe and dread. In Islamic theology, this theme, eschatology, or the study of the end times, holds profound spiritual, moral, and cosmic meaning. Known in Arabic as Ilm al-Ashar al-Sar, the knowledge of the signs of the hour, Islamic eschatology describes a universe unraveling before divine judgment. It is a vision where light fades, chaos reigns, and truth is revealed through a sequence of dark, terrifying events that test humanity's faith to its very core. Islamic tradition divides the signs of the end into two categories: minor signs, Ashar Ua, and major signs, Ashar Kubra. The minor signs signal the gradual moral, social, and natural decay of the world, while the major signs announce the imminent arrival of the day of resurrection, Yawm al-Qiyamah. Together they paint a vivid picture of descending darkness, spiritual, moral, and cosmic, before divine justice is finally unleashed. The nature of darkness in Islamic thought. In Islam, darkness is not merely the absence of light but the manifestation of ignorance, sin, and rebellion against God. The Quran uses the word ulumt, darkness is in plural, to describe layers of moral and spiritual blindness. Allah is the protector of those who believe. He brings them out of darknesses into light. As for those who disbelieve, their allies are false deities, they take them out of light into darknesses. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:257. This theological concept frames the apocalypse not only as a physical catastrophe but as the culmination of a spiritual decline. Humanity, having turned from divine guidance, drowns in collective darkness, an age where deception replaces truth, and sin replaces righteousness. The end of the world, therefore, begins long before the sun darkens or the earth quakes, it begins in the corruption of the heart. 2. The minor signs, shadows across the world. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, foretold numerous minor signs that would precede the hour. These are subtle at first, but together they mark the spreading darkness over human civilization. 1. The collapse of morality. Prophetic traditions describe a time when dishonesty will be praised, trust betrayed, and knowledge forgotten. The prophet said, "Before the hour comes, there will be years of deceit in which the liar will be believed, the truthful one disbelieved, and the treacherous one trusted." Musnad Ahmed. This moral inversion represents the first layer of eschatological darkness, when the natural order of truth and falsehood collapses. Sin becomes normalized, modesty mocked, and corruption celebrated. The prophet also warned that intoxicants would become common, fornication widespread, and people would compete in building tall structures while neglecting their souls. 2. The spread of ignorance and the disappearance of scholars. Another minor sign is the death of knowledge. Not through the disappearance of books, but through the loss of true scholars who embody divine wisdom. The prophet said, "Allah does not take away knowledge by snatching it from the people, but he takes it away by taking away the scholars. When no learned man remains, people will appoint ignorant leaders, they will be asked and they will give rulings without knowledge, thus they will go astray and will lead others astray." Sahih al-Bukhari. This intellectual and spiritual void allows false ideologies, pseudo-religions, and superstition to thrive, a shadow that covers the minds of humankind. 3. The reversal of roles. Among the minor signs is a profound social and moral confusion where roles and values are inverted. The prophet mentioned that slaves will give birth to their masters, often interpreted as children disrespecting and controlling their parents. The world becomes a place where the young command the old, the corrupt rise in power, and moral authority collapses. The shadows of chaos lengthen. 4. Natural and political turmoil. Wars, earthquakes, famine, and floods appear more frequently in the traditions as reflections of divine anger and cosmic imbalance. The prophet described the abundance of killing and the contraction of time, suggesting both physical destruction and the spiritual emptiness of modern life. These are not random catastrophes, they are the trembling of creation as it nears its appointed end. 3. The major signs, the descent into cosmic darkness. When humanity's moral decline reaches its peak, the major signs will erupt, terrifying, unmistakable events that shake the heavens and the earth. Each of these signs deepens the darkness until divine light alone can end it. 1. The rise of the false Messiah, Al-Masih al-Dajjal. No figure embodies deception and darkness more than al-Dajjal, the Antichrist of Islamic eschatology. His name derives from Dajjal, meaning deception or distortion. The Prophet Muhammad warned, "There has been no tribulation on the face of the earth greater than that of the Dajjal from the creation of Adam until the hour." Sahih Muslim. The Dajjal appears during a time of global despair, drought, war, and chaos. He performs miracles, heals the sick, and even claims to bring the dead to life. Yet his powers are an illusion granted to test faith. He will proclaim himself divine, demanding worship. Those who judge by sight rather than by faith will fall into his snare. Only the believers who remember God's words, that no man is God, will survive his deceit. The Dajjal's emergence represents spiritual darkness incarnate, the triumph of illusion over truth. His reign is not merely political or military, it is psychological, corrupting hearts through false wonders. His left eye, blind and deformed, symbolizes his inability to see spiritual truth, though he sees material power clearly. His reign covers the earth in shadow until divine intervention arrives. 2. The return of Jesus, essay with Macron ibn Maryam. Amid this darkness, light descends from heaven. According to Islamic belief, Jesus, peace be upon him, will return, not as a new prophet, but as a just ruler who destroys falsehood. He descends near the white minaret of Damascus, his hands resting on the wings of angels. His mission is to kill the Dajjal and restore justice. The prophet said, "He will pursue the Dajjal and catch him at the gate of Lud, in present-day Israel, and kill him there." Sahih Muslim. The slaying of Dajjal symbolizes the triumph of divine truth over deception, light over darkness. Yet this victory is temporary, for the final trials are yet to come. 3. The emergence of Gog and Magog, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. After the Dajjal's death, another horror is unleashed, Gog and Magog, two barbaric tribes mentioned both in the Quran and the Bible. In Islamic tradition, they were once sealed behind a great barrier by the righteous king Dhul-Qarnayn. When the end nears, the barrier crumbles, and the tribes surge forth like a flood, destroying everything in their path. Until when, the dam of Gog and Magog has been opened and they, from every elevation, descend. Surah Al-Anbi 21 hours 96 minutes. Their onslaught covers the world in chaos and blood. Even Jesus and the believers must retreat to the mountains. Only divine intervention, God sending a plague that kills them, restores the earth. Their corpses rot, polluting the land, until God sends birds to cleanse the earth. The scene reflects total moral and environmental darkness, the earth suffocating under human and demonic corruption. 4. The three major earthquakes. The prophet spoke of three colossal earthquakes, one in the east, one in the west, and one in Arabia. These are not mere geological events but cosmic ruptures signaling the breaking of the world's balance. The ground that once carried humanity will rebel against its corruption. The very earth testifies against its inhabitants, fulfilling God's decree. When the earth is shaken with its final earthquake and the earth discharges its burdens, and man says, "What is wrong with it?" That day, it will report its news. Surah Az-Zalzala 99:1-4. 5. The smoke, ad-Dukhan. Another terrifying sign is the smoke that will fill the skies, suffocating believers and tormenting disbelievers. The Quran declares, "Then watch for the day when the sky will bring a visible smoke covering the people. This will be a painful torment." Surah Ad-Dukhan 44:10-11. Some scholars interpret this as a literal cloud of toxic smoke, perhaps volcanic or nuclear in nature, while others view it as symbolic of mass confusion and despair. Either way, it marks the thickening of apocalyptic darkness over the entire world. 6. The beast of the earth, Dabat Allah. From the ground itself will rise a mysterious beast, a creature unlike any other. The Quran describes, "And when the word is fulfilled against them, we shall bring forth a beast from the earth who will speak to them, because mankind had no faith in our revelations." Surah An-Naml 27:82. This beast speaks truth amid universal falsehood, marking people on their foreheads, believers with light and unbelievers with darkness. It is not a monster of destruction, but of divine judgment, exposing what lies within every heart. Humanity can no longer hide behind lies, the truth is made visible. 7. The rising of the sun from the west. Perhaps the most dramatic reversal of nature in Islamic eschatology is when the sun rises from the west instead of the east. When this occurs, all doors of repentance are closed. The Prophet said, "The hour will not be established until the sun rises from the west. When it rises and the people see it, they will all believe. But that will be when faith will not benefit anyone who had not believed before." Sahih al-Bukhari. This cosmic event signifies the final sealing of human destiny, a world where even the laws of creation surrender to divine decree. The dawn becomes a sign of eternal night. 8. The fire that drives humanity. The last of the major signs is a great fire that emerges from Yemen and drives people toward their final gathering place, often interpreted as Syria. It herds humanity like sheep to the plain of resurrection. This is the last shadow before the light of divine judgment. 4. The final darkness, the trumpet and the end of all things. When the final signs have passed, the angel Israfil will blow the trumpet, Azar, a sound so overwhelming that it annihilates creation itself. The Quran says, "And the trumpet will be blown, and whoever is in the heavens and whoever is on the earth will fall dead, except whom Allah wills." Surah Az-Zumar 39:68. This is the moment of absolute darkness, when time ceases, when stars collapse, mountains crumble, and the seas boil over. The universe dissolves into silence, awaiting rebirth. A second trumpet follows, the resurrection. Humanity rises from the graves, disoriented and trembling, confronted by the blazing light of divine justice. Every soul faces what it sent forth, its deeds now manifest as light or shadow. For the righteous, the end of darkness reveals eternal radiance. For the wicked, the darkness becomes everlasting. The meaning of darkness and light in the end. In Islamic eschatology, the apocalypse is not chaos without purpose, it is the unveiling of truth. Darkness exists not to destroy but to expose what humanity has hidden. Every lie, every act of oppression, every whisper of disbelief comes to light. The Quran describes the believer's reward in imagery of illumination. On the day you will see the believing men and women, their light shining ahead of them and on their right. Surah Al-Hadid 57:12. In contrast, the disbelievers are engulfed in the very darkness they chose. Their light will be extinguished, and they will be left in darkness, unable to see. Surah Al-Hadid 57:13. The end of the world, then, is not merely about destruction, it is about separation, light from dark, truth from falsehood, faith from illusion. Every sign of the hour, from the Dajjal's deceit to the rising of the sun from the west, serves as a divine mirror revealing humanity's moral state. 6. Lessons from the darkness. Islamic eschatology warns not to fear the end itself, but the spiritual blindness that precedes it. The Prophet's emphasis on repentance, charity, justice, and remembrance of God is not merely moral instruction, it is preparation for survival through darkness. He said, "Hasten to do good deeds before you are overtaken by trials like pieces of dark night, when a man will be a believer in the morning and a disbeliever in the evening." Sari Muslim. The imagery of dark night captures the essence of the end times: confusion, temptation, and moral decay so thick that truth is barely visible. The believer's task is to carry light within, the light of faith, knowledge, and righteousness. From darkness to eternal light. Islamic eschatology is a grand moral drama where the physical end of the world mirrors the spiritual end of humanity's arrogance. The darkness that descends upon the world before the day of judgment is both literal and symbolic, a warning that when faith dies, light fades from creation itself. Ancient Mesopotamian Tiamat, the mother of chaos. In the vast and intricate mythology of ancient Mesopotamia, few figures loom as large and mysterious as Tiamat, the primordial goddess of the sea and embodiment of chaos itself. Emerging from one of the earliest recorded mythological epics, the Enuma Elish, or the Babylonian epic of creation, Tiamat represents the ancient world's attempt to understand the origin of the cosmos, the nature of evil, and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. She was not merely a monster or dragon, she was the mother of all creation, a cosmic force whose power both birthed and threatened the universe. To the Mesopotamians, particularly the Babylonians, Tiamat was more than myth. She symbolized the unpredictable and dangerous aspects of nature, the roaring seas, devastating storms, and the chaotic elements that existed before the gods brought order to the world. Her story, preserved on cuneiform tablets dating back over 3,000 years, reflects one of humanity's oldest attempts to explain how the world came into being and how it nearly unraveled. The origins of Tiamat in the Enuma Elish. The Enuma Elish, written in Akkadian during the late 2nd millennium BCE, serves as the central source for the story of Tiamat. The text opens not with gods or humans, but with two primordial beings. Apsu, the fresh water, representing order and stability, and Tiamat, the salt water, representing chaos and creation. In the beginning, these two mingle together in the cosmic abyss, forming the substance of all existence. From their mingling, the first generation of gods was born: Lamu, Lahamu, Anshar, Kishar, and eventually Ea, Enki, and Anu, the sky god. These younger gods represented the rising forces of order, intelligence, and structured creation within the primordial chaos. Yet, as the story unfolds, the younger gods become noisy and disruptive, disturbing the peace of Apsu and Tiamat. Apsu, angered by their chaos, decides to destroy them. Tiamat, however, resists at first. She is a motherly figure who seeks to protect her offspring. But after Apsu is killed by Ea, Tiamat's sorrow turns into fury. From this moment, she transforms from the nurturing mother of creation into the monstrous mother of destruction, seeking vengeance against her rebellious children. The transformation of Tiamat, from creator to destroyer. Tiamat's metamorphosis marks one of the earliest mythological representations of the duality of creation and destruction. Her transformation from a motherly sea goddess to a fearsome dragon or serpent embodies the idea that creation and chaos are deeply intertwined. In her wrath, Tiamat raises an army of terrifying beings, monsters born from her own body, to wage war against the younger gods. Among her creations are some of the most vivid monsters in ancient myth. Viper dragons, serpents that breathe poison. Scorpion men, half-human, half-scorpion guardians. Fishmen and bullmen, hybrid creatures symbolizing chaos. And a mighty storm dragon, sometimes said to be Tiamat's own monstrous form. Tiamat also appoints a champion to lead her army, Kingu, her consort and chosen general. To empower him, she gives him the Tablet of Destinies, a divine artifact that grants supreme authority over the universe. With this, Tiamat's rebellion becomes not just a battle of vengeance, but a cosmic war over who holds the power to shape existence itself. The rise of Marduk, the champion of the gods. As Tiamat's chaotic forces threaten the divine order, the gods seek a champion to confront her. None dare face the sea dragon, until Marduk, the young storm god of Babylon, steps forward. Marduk, armed with the winds, lightning, and divine wisdom, agrees to fight Tiamat, but only if he is granted supreme kingship over all the gods once victorious. The gods accept his terms, elevating Marduk as their leader. His battle with Tiamat becomes one of the most iconic mythic duels in human history, the archetypal conflict between chaos and order, echoed later in countless religious and mythological traditions, from Yahweh's defeat of Leviathan in the Hebrew Bible to Zeus's conquest of Typhon in Greek myth. The cosmic battle, order versus chaos. The climactic confrontation between Marduk and Tiamat is a cosmic spectacle. As the Enuma Elish describes, Marduk confronts the monstrous goddess upon the stormy seas. Tiamat roars and opens her vast mouth to devour him, but Marduk releases a fierce wind that forces her jaws open wide. He then shoots an arrow through her heart, killing her instantly. The once living embodiment of chaos falls lifeless, and her monstrous army scatters in terror. But the story does not end with her death. Marduk takes Tiamat's body and splits it in two, forming the structure of the cosmos. With one half, he creates the heavens, and with the other, he forms the earth. From her eyes flow the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, bringing life to the Mesopotamian plains. Her ribs become the sky's boundaries, and her remains become mountains, clouds, and the firmament. In this way, the universe itself is born from the corpse of chaos. Order is literally built from destruction. Symbolism of Tiamat, the eternal chaos. Tiamat's story is one of profound symbolism. She represents the primal, undifferentiated waters of creation, the chaotic void that existed before the gods shaped the world. Her defeat by Marduk is not merely a story of good triumphing over evil, it is a cosmic allegory for the emergence of order from disorder. In Mesopotamian cosmology, water was both life-giving and dangerous. The rivers sustained agriculture and civilization, yet floods and storms could destroy everything. Tiamat embodied this dual nature. Her role as the saltwater ocean made her both the source of all life and the symbol of its potential destruction. Moreover, the division of her body into heaven and earth reflects the ancient belief that the universe was created through the taming of chaos. The Babylonians did not view chaos as something that could be eradicated, only controlled and balanced. Even in defeat, Tiamat remained ever present, the waters of the sea, the depths of the underworld, and the unpredictable forces of nature. Tiamat as the dragon, the evolution of the myth. In early Sumerian traditions, Tiamat may not have been explicitly depicted as a dragon. However, over time, her image evolved into that of a serpent-like or draconic being. This imagery became especially prominent in later Babylonian art and mythological retellings. The dragon symbolism carried deep significance. Dragons in ancient Mesopotamia were often symbols of primeval power, chaos, and cosmic resistance against the gods. The association of Tiamat with a sea dragon helped solidify her identity as the archetype of the chaos monster, a motif that spread throughout the ancient world. In Ugaritic mythology, the storm god Bull slays Yam, the sea god, echoing Marduk's victory over Tiamat. In the Hebrew Bible, Yahweh battles Leviathan, a monstrous sea serpent that mirrors Tiamat's form. In Greek mythology, Zeus defeats Typhon, a serpentine giant of chaos, continuing the same mythic pattern. Thus, Tiamat's legacy influenced a vast mythological lineage across the Near East and Mediterranean. She became the prototype for the chaos serpent, the ancient enemy of divine order. The theological meaning of Tiamat. The Enuma Elish was not merely a myth, it was a religious text that justified Babylon's supremacy and Marduk's divine kingship. Each recitation of the epic during the Babylonian New Year festival reaffirmed the cosmic order established by Marduk's victory. Yet within this theological framework, Tiamat still held a sacred role. Her defeat did not erase her significance, it validated her necessity. Without Tiamat's chaotic substance, the gods could not have created the world. In other words, chaos is the mother of creation. The Mesopotamians recognized that destruction and disorder were essential parts of the cosmic cycle. Tiamat's chaos had to exist for Marduk's order to emerge. This dualistic philosophy resonates deeply with later theological ideas, from Zoroastrianism's cosmic dualism, Ahura Mazda versus Angra Mainyu, to Gnostic and Hermetic notions of matter and spirit. Tiamat thus stands as one of humanity's earliest symbolic representations of the creative power of chaos, a reminder that even in the midst of disorder, new worlds can be born. Tiamat in later interpretations and legacy. Tiamat's myth endured long after Babylon's fall. Though her name faded from active worship, echoes of her story appear across cultures and ages. In the Hebrew book of Genesis, the word Tehom, the deep, refers to the primordial waters that existed before creation. Darkness was upon the face of the deep, Tehom. Many scholars note the linguistic similarity between Tehom and Tiamat, suggesting that the biblical authors were familiar with and subtly reinterpreting the Babylonian creation myth, transforming the chaotic waters of Tiamat into the formless void over which Yahweh asserts control. In modern fantasy and popular culture, Tiamat has been reimagined countless times. In Dungeons & Dragons, she appears as a five-headed dragon goddess, ruler of evil dragons, an adaptation that emphasizes her destructive, serpentine qualities. In literature, she surfaces as a symbol of feminine power, primordial energy, and rebellion against patriarchal order. Writers and scholars of feminist mythology have reclaimed Tiamat as a representation of the suppressed feminine divine, the chaos and creativity that patriarchal myth sought to subdue. Even in modern psychology and philosophy, Tiamat's archetype resonates. Carl Jung's theory of the Great Mother archetype, both nurturing and devouring, bears striking resemblance to Tiamat's dual role. She is life and death, creation and destruction, order's origin and its eternal threat. Tiamat and the feminine principle. Tiamat's portrayal as both mother and monster also speaks to deeper cultural attitudes about the feminine in ancient mythology. As the primordial mother, she represents the raw power of nature, the life-giving womb of the cosmos. But when she becomes defiant, she is demonized and destroyed. This reflects an archetypal pattern seen across ancient mythologies, where the female creative force becomes a symbol of chaos that must be subdued by male gods of order. In this light, the myth of Marduk and Tiamat can be read not just as a cosmic struggle, but as a reflection of the shift from matriarchal to patriarchal religion. Earlier Mesopotamian deities, such as the Sumerian goddess Namu, shared Tiamat's association with the primordial sea and creation, but without her monstrous attributes. As societies grew more hierarchical and male-dominated, goddesses like Tiamat were increasingly cast as threats to divine order rather than its source. Thus, Tiamat's defeat may symbolize the mythic overthrow of the feminine principle, the suppression of the chaotic, instinctual, and creative aspects of existence in favor of structured, masculine control. Yet her enduring presence in myth suggests that this feminine chaos could never truly be erased. It remained an undercurrent in the world, a reminder that creation cannot exist without the power of the void. The eternal legacy of the Sea Mother. Tiamat, the ancient goddess of the sea, chaos, and creation, remains one of the most profound and enduring symbols of human myth-making. She embodies the eternal paradox of existence, that creation and destruction, order and chaos, are inseparable forces. Her body became the world, her blood the rivers, and her memory the ever-shifting tides of the sea. The end of days has always fascinated and terrified those who dared to imagine it. From demonic armies to the fall of kingdoms, prophecy warns that the final battle will decide the fate of all creation. But perhaps these stories aren't just about destruction, they're about renewal, transformation, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. If you found this journey into the apocalyptic visions of ancient prophecy enlightening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Until next time, remember, the final battle may not be fought in the heavens, but within the human soul itself.